What do you do for a living out here in New York City?
I work on Wall Street.
What type of business do you run?
So FX is a labor force management company. So we partner with companies all over the United States and they outsource their entire labor force to us.
What's the deepest life quote that you've ever heard?
Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one by Albert Einstein.
And it reminds me of the quote that Jack Welch said, where he said, the day you stop growing as a business is the day you begin to die on the vine.
Number 1.
Excuse me, sir. Question for you. Have you ever been broke before?
Multiple times.
Yeah? Quick question for you. What do you do for a living out here in New York City?
I work on Wall Street.
And how long have you been in finance for?
15, 16 years.
Yeah? I go all over the country just asking successful people how they made it for the younger generation. Can I get just 1 minute of your time real quick?
Yeah.
So what is one lesson about money you teach to somebody that the wealthy people know that most people do not know? One lesson about money 99% of people don't know.
Money got to keep moving. In order for it to grow, in order for it to work for you, it has to keep moving.
Yeah.
Putting it in a bank on your mattress is never going to work. It's
Yeah.
got to keep moving. Investments, yes.
Can I get just 1 minute of your time real quick for some questions?
Yeah.
What was the worst financial decision that you made throughout your career?
Oh man, getting married, man. Getting married, man. My divorce wiped me out. It was terrible. Marriage is a business. I didn't look at it like that. You know, I was one of those sucker for love kind of guys. So I was, I'm in love, you know. It's a business. And if you don't look at it like that, that could be one of the worst financial mistakes you make. I'm being honest, being very blunt. Wiped me out, had to start over from scratch. But the beauty of it is once you have it in you internally to build, you have the dog in you, the fight in you, doesn't matter. You'll always rebuild. It's not about losing it. Anybody listening, it's not about losing it. Because you have the dog in you, you can fight and bring it back. What it's really about is this. It's about recovery time. See, if you lose it at 20, you're probably in your early 20s, mid-20s. It's okay, you have recovery time. You're young. I'm 45, I'll be 46 in 2 months. If you lose it in your 40s, your mid-30s, it's terrible because you don't have the same recovery rate as someone who's 20 or 19 or 25. So also they say you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang around with. So be careful of the people you have around you. Be very selective because you are the sum total of the people you hang around with. So those are some of the big mistakes we make. A lot of times people try to use socializing for networking. You're really not networking, you just want to be social. And just to be social is a waste of time. Anytime I look at it, like if you're interacting with someone, like I'm interacting with you, there must be a reason why we're interacting. There's a bartering, right? There's an exchange. What am I getting out of talking to you? Some exposure, maybe some likes, which I really don't care about, but that's the reality, right? What are you getting out of talking out of it, right? Some information, right? So anytime you interact with someone, you must always ask yourself, what are we exchanging? Now, real quick before we go, last thing, the universe teaches us this. What do you do every day? We breathe, we inhale, and we exhale. You take in the oxygen, and you give out the carbon dioxide, right? And the trees, your environment, takes in the dioxide and gives you back oxygen. So there's a bartering between you and the universe, the ecosystem. Inhale, exhale, contract, expand, contract, expand. So with everything in life, you got to apply that science to your life. Like, what is the exchange here? So the people you interact with, what are they? What's the bartering? What are they? Are they an asset? Is it a liability? What are we exchanging here? Those are the mistakes that you got to avoid.
What's the deepest life quote that you've ever heard?
Okay, right now. Don't go anywhere. I got it right here. This is how committed I am to this quote. Reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one by Albert Einstein. And I'm not, look, it's right here on my phone. It's my screensaver. I always use that to remind me that reality is an illusion, although and albeit a very persistent one. None of this, I could curse? Yeah. All right, pardon my language. None of this shit is real. It's all an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. And that's what makes it a reality because it's so persistent. And that's Albert Einstein, that's not mine.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no problem, bro.
Number 2.
A couple weeks ago, I interviewed a $300 million entrepreneur in Houston, Texas. Excuse me, sir. Is this your Ferrari?
Yeah, it is.
What do you do for a living out in Houston, Texas to be able to afford a Ferrari?
I'm an entrepreneur.
And how long have you been a business owner for?
21 years.
And what type of business do you run?
I own a labor force management company.
How important was it for you learning how to master delegation?
Let's put it this way. How important is it? My company will do $300 million this year in revenue, right? If I were still doing it all myself, we might do 3.
His name is Lewis, and he invited us out to his private car collection that's worth over $20 million to drop some more game for you guys. So with that being said, let's go see what Lewis has to say. Lewis,
Hey,
how's it going, my friend?
Oh, wonderful, sir. Good to see you.
Thanks for having us out here, man.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
this is the private car collection right here.
This is it. It's pretty well hidden, which I like. And it keeps things private. But yeah, here we are. This is most of it. Yeah.
So I interviewed you out in Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
The video got over 20 million views across social media.
I never expected that. That was crazy.
Yeah. You built a $300 million company.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And we're at your private car collection now. How many cars do you have here?
So today, I think we've got 21 cars here currently in the, at least in this warehouse right now.
Could we check some of them out and just kind of like see like what you got
Yeah,
here?
I think we've got about 14 Ferraris currently in the collection, about 6 Lamborghinis, and then there's other things, you know, Rolls Royce, a couple of Porsches here and there. There's some stuff that only makes sense to me, like my very first car when I was 17, Smoky Bandit Trans Am.
I gotta ask you about these two Lamborghinis right here. I see these are insane, gold and orange Lambos right here.
Yeah.
Growing up, did you ever think that all this was possible? Did you ever think that you were gonna make all this happen when you were growing up?
You know what? I definitely had the dream. The dream was actually of the Countach here in the very back. But I will tell you, I didn't have a dream this big. Yeah. But you know, I think the belief in yourself comes one way or the other. And then where you have some achievements and you make some things happen, that dream begins to grow bigger and bigger as your confidence grows.
So what's more important, mindset or skill set?
Mindset. 100%, yeah. I talk about this all the time. You know, I can give you skills, but I can't control your mindset. I can't give you passion. I can't give you drive.
And what type of business do you run?
So FX is a labor force management company. So we partner with companies all over the United States, and they outsource their entire labor force to us.
And I noticed the Ferrari right over here. This is the Ferrari that I actually interviewed you in.
Yeah, that was the one you came up to me in that day, which is crazy. In fact, I'm not even sure if I had a chance to drive it since I saw you last.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I mean, you kind of have that moment where like you don't even know what to choose from pretty much a lot of the time.
It's the two big decisions of my morning, and this sounds kind of silly, but it's what car am I going to drive and what watch am I going to wear? Those are my big ones.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. Do you think everybody's built for entrepreneurship?
Absolutely not. It is tough. You know, I was mentoring a gentleman yesterday, someone I cared very dearly about. I've known this person for a very long time, and he's got great ideas, and he's had some terrible failures, and not from lack of trying or caring, but at the end of the day, you could just tell that the risk of being an entrepreneur, the toll that it takes him, it's not mentally healthy for him. And I see that with most people. In fact, when most people come to me for mentorship about being an entrepreneur, I usually try to spend a lot of time talking them out of it. It is very, very, very difficult.
And did you know that 1 in 4 millionaires are living paycheck to paycheck?
Unfortunately, yes. Isn't that insane?
So from your perspective, what keeps people broke in today's world?
Spending money. Absolutely. You know, I think that, I don't know whether it's through social media or things like, you know, listen, I've been collecting cars or watches for a long time, and I've seen this massive explosion in the last 7-8 years of more and more people spending a lot of money on cars and watches and second homes and things like that. And I think people continue to go out and get more and more leveraged in things that they shouldn't be getting leveraged in, taking on more and more debt. I think I've been reading actually currently right now where Americans now owe more credit card debt than at any other point in time in history, even though we as an overall country are making more income than we ever have as a whole, and yet we have more debt. People are going out and blowing money on things that have no ROI. They spend money on things that make you money, right? Don't go out and blow money on that new Rolex, the new Patek, the new Ferrari, the new Lambo, or whatever it is. Invest that money in something that's going to give you an ROI. People are taking out debt to buy consumable products and things like that and blowing their money. Like you said, 1 in 4 millionaires living paycheck to paycheck. What does that tell you? No matter how much money you make, you still got to live within your means. You know, we were making good money, but every dollar I made every week had to stay in the company to reduce my debt liabilities the next week, so I could dwindle that down week after week after week. Then once I got the company out of debt, then I still had to build my balance sheet and retained earnings to be able to grow and fund our scale and growth.
8 out of 10 businesses, they won't make it past 5 years.
Yeah.
What's the most common mistake that business owners make in today's world?
They get the company to where it's doing okay or good enough, and they quit growing. Look, we're doing $300 million this year in revenue. Our goal is $1 billion, right? And it reminds me of the quote that Jack Welch said, where he said, the day you stop growing as a business is the day you begin to die on the vine. And it's so true. You've got to continue to grow and scale that business. The moment that you don't, the customer base, whatever you've got recurring your revenue, is going to begin to dwindle. Your competitors, they're not resting on their laurels. They're sharpening their business. They're getting better and better and better, and they're coming for you.
The game you're dropping is amazing. I'd love to be able to sit down and ask you some questions. Is that cool?
Absolutely, man. Let's do it.
Right. So now I interviewed you back in July. One of the things that I asked you, right, because getting that capital to start businesses is a big problem that a lot of people face. And you said that you had to beg, borrow, and steal to get the means to kind of start that business.
Yes, I did.
Can you kind of break down, in your opinion, the most efficient way to get the capital to start and grow businesses in today's world?
Right.
I mean, how you did it, and versus maybe in today's world, what you would do if you were a business owner today. What is that blueprint that you would take to get the money to start and grow businesses?
Right. You know, a lot of people come to people like me today, right, or other very successful entrepreneurs looking for the investment, okay? And that's not necessarily wrong. I think there's a lot of good to be done there. But let's be honest, if you come to me and you've got a great idea, right, and you haven't launched anything yet, you're looking for seed money, right? I'm taking all the financial risk. You're going to risk your time and some sweat equity, but if it goes south, it's my money, not yours, right? And I'm going to be in control of that money, how that money gets spent. Let's just say you're a young man or young woman coming to me, little to no business experience or acumen, but you've got a great idea, and we both believe in the idea. I see great ideas happen all the time that don't succeed because they don't know how to execute. So I'll talk more about execution in a minute. point is though, most people are coming to people like myself or other successful entrepreneurs looking for that capital up front. Well, we're going to want to be in control of how that money gets spent. So we're going to want majority equity in that venture, right? 51% plus, depending on the deal, right? And usually seed money is a 70% partnership where you're getting 30, but I'm taking 100% of the financial risk. So there's give and take there. For me, what I like to see people do, and where they're going to be in a much better position for a capital perspective, is to start trying to cash flow their growth. In fact, I just had a gentleman here yesterday I was meeting with, mentoring him, and he took out a $100,000 loan to put it into this business, right? The business was already generating revenue. I'm like, why didn't you not pay yourself as little to none as possible, live off of some sort of savings, live a very menial life for a long time, build up that money, right? Rather than going taking out this loan, you took on all that risk at once and you didn't have the revenue to support it. So I'd rather see people cash flow issues, their growth like that in small chunks, right? Now for me, as I mentioned, the first deal was $9 million a year, right? Annualized revenue. They needed 30-day pay terms, right? So I needed what, about a million roughly, because 30-day pay terms plus your 5th week of expenses going out, hopefully that payment comes in on time, right? So we're looking at 5 weeks that you're having to cash flow. So I need about $1 million. I went to what's called invoice factoring type of services, or accounts receivable factoring, and it's horrible. It's 21% interest rate, right, when it's all said and done. That's why I refer to it as loan shark money, right? And they essentially, every week I present my invoices, they buy them from me and would loan me, I think around 90% loan the value of the invoice, right? And as awful as that was, and as painful as it was for a long time, I couldn't pay myself money for a long time. We talked about the tax situation that I had, right, going into my 2nd year. I'll talk more about that in a second. But it was excruciating, but I look back on it today, and where's it gotten me today? I've learned financial discipline, right? Because I could not take money out of the company. Even though the company was making money every week, I had to leave that money in the company so that next week I'm borrowing a little bit less at 21% and a little bit less and a little bit less. That's number one. So I learned how to, number one, live well below my means. I learned how to build up a balance sheet in a business, which is imperative, right? And third, I'm sitting here today and I still own 100% of my business. I never sold off shares of my business to get the money. That's not always possible depending on what type of business you're going into and how capital intensive it is up front. But even if somebody comes to me and says, hey, you know, I need $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, whatever the number is to start something up, I first look at, did you even try to cash flow any of this yourself? Or you just ask for somebody to take 100% of the risk up front and all you have is an idea, right? Immediately that's a red flag to me. I want to see that you already started hustling, you already started turning some revenue, maybe at a very small level. You know you can scale it to X, Y, and Z. That's great. I'll help you get there, right, if I really believe in it. But I want to see that you've already taken the steps to bust your butt, make the financial sacrifice, and start growing it in small increments, and you're cash flowing. And now we've got proof of concept. We know this business concept or idea is going to work. Now let's put the money into it to scale it. And by the way, if that's the case, you're in a much better position to negotiate with someone like myself relative to shares and ownership of the business. Because I'm now funding scale and growth. I'm not funding something that's just a raw idea.
Looking back at your career running this business as a whole, how did you go from a $10 to $100 million company?
So I made it all about our customer, okay? That was how listen, even if I'd have been strongly capitalized, right, I still had to grow my relationships with customers, right? And so 2 big things. Number one, by focusing on what was best for our customers, they continued to turn over more and more of their business to us so that we were able to mushroom the relationships that we already had, right? And then by way of working on new customers, by coming in with more of a consultative sales approach where I'm here to see how I can make your business better. And if I can't make your business better, you don't owe me a dime. But if I can come in and show you that we can do these things and make you more profitable and make you more competitive in your industry, then maybe we have a reason to do business together, right? That's really what we grew from a new business development standpoint. The growth, obviously, from a capital standpoint was, like I've talked about earlier, being extraordinarily disciplined to continue to build my retained earnings, build that balance sheet so that I had the money to fund my growth. So you got to have both. I've got to have people that believe in your service, willing to sign contracts with you, and then I got to have the money to fund that growth. Both of those have to happen. Along the way, is where you start. So, okay, I've got new customers coming in. Now I've got the money to fund the growth. Now, how do I get everybody on board with what we're trying to do? How do I get success? Okay, we've been successful with these 3 or 4 sites. Now we've got 4 or 5 new ones. How do I get people on board to do daily operating procedures, standing operating procedures consistently every day and get consistent results over and over and over again? Well, that's when you get into the training development side of things, right? Getting into very good SOPs. And then the third piece and the most vital piece is what we've been spent a lot of time talking about. And I spend most of my time talking about this because if you don't get this piece right, not only will your success be very limited, at some point you're going to be crippled because someone like me is going to come steal your talent. I just absolutely am. And that was the leadership style. Building that company culture of treating people with respect and loyalty and making them feel valued and rewarded for the job that they're doing. Knowing that I'm here for you, right? If you're giving me your best, I will invest in you, I will back you, I will be here for you, I will defend you. You make mistakes, we're going to learn from them together. I'm not going to point the finger at you, none of that. We're going to learn and grow together, and I want you to have the freedom to take those risks, right? If you're going to give people accountability, right, they've got to have authority, right? You can't just nail people down and hold them accountable for any little thing that they do. If you give people authority, then comes the accountability. Well, they got the authority to do things to push the envelope of the business, right? Think of things that you don't think of yourself. If you don't give them the freedom to do that, then the company's never going to be any better than you as the CEO or the entrepreneur of that business. And that's a scary place to be because I don't care how smart you are, you're still one person, right? I'd rather sit in a room where there's 5 people sitting in this room. And I always tell them, I'm number 6, let's just say to speak that it's an executive meeting, right? And there's 6 of us sitting in the room. If you're in that room, you're here because I think you have knowledge, experience, expertise outside of what I have. I want you to tell me where I'm wrong. I want you to tell me why this won't work. I also want you to tell me what we're going to do to make it work, right? Lewis, that won't work, but here's another way we can make that happen. Lewis, I don't think this is going to work, but here's another way we can achieve that same goal, that same vision. You bring value to the table. And so people have that freedom to take that authority to tell me that I'm wrong, disagree with me, push me, challenge me, right? And when we have that, now we have something real cohesive and collective in the room.
Relationships, yes. Right? As a business owner, you're starting a company, you're more of a visionary, it seems like.
Yes.
How do you go about kind of navigating to find the right relationships to not just build within your company, but just in the business world in general, right? Whether it's lawyers, accountants,
right,
tax people, whatever it may be. How do you're the entrepreneur, you build this company, you built a big business. How did you go throughout your career? And maybe what would you have done differently? Like who are some of those relationships that you would have made very early on? Banks, investors, whatever it may be.
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, establish relationships with bankers as fast as possible. You're going to need them if you're going to scale, right? I talked about the invoice factoring that we did but that all was to get to the goal of getting to a traditional line of credit with banks, right? And so even though our balance sheet wasn't there yet, I started developing relationships with bankers during those early days and then letting them guide me. Where do I need to get my balance sheet to so that I would be qualified for a line of credit with you of this size, right? Because we grew very quick. So I think in our second year, it was probably third year where we finally got to where we could get into a true traditional line of credit. At that time, our borrowing needs were almost $14 million. And the company's only 3 years old, right? And so I started working with bankers, got them to believe in me, right? Believe in my integrity, my credibility, right? Because they want to be taking risks with people that they believe have strong credibility. And I started having them guide me where I want to get my balance sheet to. And then they saw me making those steps and doing it. And then once we weren't even quite there. And one particular banker, who's now my neighbor, by the way, that's how strong the relationship was, bought the house next door to me, wasn't quite there, but he saw that I'd done consistently, been building the balance sheet, retained earnings, doing all the right things, and he saw that we were taking on wise risk, not stupid risk, put us into our first facility line of credit, and tremendously changed the business forever from there. But I would strongly suggest, absolutely, bankers, investors, if that's the direction you have to go, if it's a capital intensive business up front, start establishing those relationships before you have the need, right? Or you have the need, but hey, here's the goals, and let them see you achieve those goals along the way. They know that now they're betting on a consistent winner. They will take that risk with you, right? The other big thing too, and I wish I would have done this, and I didn't do it. I wish I would have gotten involved in some organizations where we're not trying to sell to one another, but we're really there as business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs, whatever, that we're there to collaborate. hey, I'm having this struggle in the business. I'm struggling to understand how to maximize this or to improve upon that. And sitting in a room with people just collaborating and chatting about their experiences and what they're going through and what they've been able to learn from. Or, hey, you know what, we did it this way. Maybe we should try this. Maybe we should try that. Reach out to our mentorship group, not just one person, but a group. And it's got to be a group. I think this is really the key thing. No one's there to sell one another or anything. We're just a soliciting group, right? Those are, in my mind, that would have been the biggest. Entrepreneurs don't have time to waste, and I damn sure don't have time to sit there and for an hour every Wednesday morning having breakfast while everybody's trying to sell me something. That's just BS. Get into a group where we're all there to learn and grow and collaborate and share experiences with one another. That's probably the one thing, if I were to go back to me at 24, 25 years old, I would tell myself to do. At the time, I felt like I didn't have the time to do it. What I didn't account for is how much time I spent trying to figure out things on my own, that I could have had a group of people that could have given me some advice, or at least just their experience up to that point, and it would have saved me a lot of agony. So that 1 hour, you know, a month or however often they would have met would have been a far better use of my time than me spending, you know, 30, 40 hours trying to solve a problem that I could have chatted with someone in 15 minutes once a month, you know, something like that.
You're very relationship centric as opposed to being transactional, but you've negotiated and closed some massive multi-million dollar, 7, 8-figure business deals throughout your career. What is your best negotiation advice for people out there? Maybe they're struggling in those business meetings, they're at the table with some heavy hitters, they want to get really good at negotiating, right? And maybe let's say it's not going in their favor.
Yeah.
And any negotiation advice for people out there that are still trying to, you know, have that win-win business to where it's more relationship and not transaction centric.
Right.
What's your best negotiation advice for people out there?
So there's been times where I've gotten in negotiations, and especially if you're dealing with some people in procurement that are just truly price driven. They don't really care about anything else, right? You need to focus on the long-term wins. Right? So rather than getting locked in that battle about the margins today or the price point of this today or whatever, let them have that win, okay? But now start looking long term, right? Okay, let's agree to do that, but perhaps let's make it results driven, right? If I give you these results, that's quantitative, right? We know exactly what I've been able to do to your bottom line, right? Let's focus on some piece of that coming back to us only after we've saved you the money, only after we've delivered the results to your business. Or if, by the way, we were able to successfully, because of the efficiencies that we brought to the table and drive down your costs, you're able to grow your business, right? Then maybe there's a percentage, every percentage that we grow your business, so now it's directly related to your results, we have a direct percentage increase on our price point, right? So allow me to earn my margins, allow me to earn my money by making your business better. Now I'm eliminating the risk of you paying me more up front today with no guaranteed ROI. Right? So in other words, find another end around. When you just get locked into these negotiations, you're on your back foot, right? And you're losing those negotiations. Don't lose the deal. Find another way to think long term. And the other thing it does, it shows the customer that you're thinking long term about this relationship, not just on today's transaction. Okay? That will give you the end around to free everything up. And now you've got a whole new path of freedom to negotiate a true value, results oriented pricing and margins that's now going to benefit you long term, yes, but you're going back to what I tell you. I said I focus most on first, my customers' results in their business. So if I'm starting to demonstrate and focus on making you more successful, you're happy as hell to pay me more on the backside, right? I've already delivered my results to you.
Yeah, Louis, this was absolutely phenomenal.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Yes, sir. Good seeing you again.
For everybody tuned in right now, where can everybody find you on social media?
So actually, as I've said, Effects Management Solutions is our main company. That runs itself most of the day. I'm not really that involved in the day-to-day. Now I'm doing Passion Project, which is, we've started a YouTube channel, and right now we're showcasing a lot of the cars and stuff of my car collection, but really the point is to motivate and inspire people to do a lot of what we're talking about right here, right? It was a car that first inspired me, the Countach. I think we've got sitting in the back there. But it started with that passion for cars that motivated me and to start striving for levels of success in life I didn't even know existed. And so now I'm at a place where I really want to give back. I love mentoring other people. I'm hoping anytime I go to a car show, it's there. I want to meet a kid that asks me a question, and I want them to ask me, hey, how'd you make that happen? How do I get here? What advice do you have for me? I love mentoring others. So the Gentleman's Garage, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok. Please check us out. It's all, yeah, we're sharing cars, having a lot of fun with that, but the whole point of that is hopefully motivate and inspire people that if I can grow up on a farm and on welfare, and end up, I don't know, we're sitting here with a, I don't know, a $21 million car collection. You can too. There was nothing special about me. As I talked about, I had a dream, I had a vision for something that I wanted for myself. And at the end of the day, it's the number one thing I tell people all the time. Believe in yourself and just don't quit. So check us out at the Gentleman's Garage. Look forward to seeing you guys there and sharing more content.
Everybody go follow Louis right now. And as I mentioned earlier, guys, we recently launched our official entrepreneur community, the School of Mentors, where you can learn directly from and get mentored by entrepreneurs just like Louis, who's built a $300 million company. And every week I'm hosting live calls with the multimillionaires and the billionaires I interview on this channel every single week. To get access to this entire exclusive interview, go to the link down in the description of this video or go to the School of Mentors to join today. With that being said, we'll see you guys in the next video.